How's it going, guys? My name is Noble and welcome to the channel, and in today's video you're going to be seeing my PVE Hybrid Magicka Sorcerer build. This is going to be a great mashup of both DPSing and healing. It really, in my opinion, brings all of the major damage abilities of the Sorcerer, puts them all together with great healing on the back end. I mainly use this to heal in normal dungeons, some veteran dungeons if I'm running with my own group, so you can use it in a variety of ways. But guys, if you are interested in more builds or more ESO content, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well, so this video gets pushed out to as many ESO fans as possible. I stream at least twice a week, a bit under the weather right now, but when I'm better, I will get back on that streaming schedule, and I upload at least once a week. I try to get out at least 2 or 3 videos though on any good week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this hybrid build. Alright guys, here we are with my Magicka Hybrid Sorcerer. This is definitely going to help you in a lot of ways. It's very versatile. The only thing I wouldn't recommend using this for is like pretty intense PvP. It's not really built for that. So just something to keep in mind. It works for pretty much everything like you just heard. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in to our pretty much buff stats because we have the food running. We have 35k maximum magicka, 17k health, 16k in maximum stamina. Now, normally, some people would tell me that these two are a little low, and they may or may not be, but I have not found any difficulty, especially for the kind of content that this build is for. This does not really matter a ton, the max health and the max stamina, because we have so much recovery and so much, healing, going with it. So the Mundusooner running is the Apprentice, which increases the spell damage by 257. I didn't want to go with a heal one this time around or anything to help healing. I really like the damage output for this hybrid, so I went with that. And then for the food, I just went with the regular Crown Fortifying Meal, which increases all primary stats, because this is a basic hybrid build. It's not going to be a ton of flashiness. It's not a hard build to follow. It's nothing crazy whatsoever. So these are all of the stats. We have, the weapon critical at 10, spell critical at 13%. Everything's about where I want it to be, even though that stamina recovery is a little bit problematic right there. But that is the stats. So if we go over to the, armor and what we're wearing, I'm wearing 5 pieces of Seducer. And this is part of my PvP build, which is why you have all these in-pen things on you. You don't need to run in pen if you don't want to. I just always like running crit resists. I do have some divines on here as well, but most of these are all in pen. And then I am running a monster set, and that's Chokethorn. I like Chokethorn for the healing because yes, we only have the 1 bar because we're basically using the restoration staff abilities for healing. But this will also help because when you have the 2-piece, you have a 33% chance to summon a Strangler sapling that heals you or an ally for 24,962 health over 6 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. So I like that. It's pretty strong, so definitely use that if you are able to get your hands on it. It was pretty easy for me to get. Only had to run for like an hour or so before I got everything I needed to pick up the monster set, so that's good there. And then for the jewelry, I am running Crafty Elfique because I have a ton of Magicka recovery. Like we never run out of Magicka with this build, which is good considering our damage abilities are all Magicka and our healing abilities are Magicka as well. So, that makes sense. So 3-piece for that ring and necklace set. And then for the weapons, I have the Inferno Staff with the Seducer running infused. And then I have the Restoration Staff of the Seducer running the defending on it as well with the Absorb Magicka enchant as well. And this one has weapon damage. So very, very happy with this. Makes everything work, in my opinion, extremely, extremely well. I'm clearly not running any poisons. There isn't really a need to for this. I haven't, dived into that realm a whole lot myself, so I decided to not put any poisons on this. So that's why you don't see anything there. So now I think we can go straight on to the skills. Alright, so for our front bar, we have a staple for pretty much every class that is running Magicka. That is Crushing Shock. It is the Force Shock morph. This is our primary spammable, as I'm sure a lot of you know if you've been playing the game. But this is what we're going to use, in between, that's our light attack. We use a light attack, Crushing Shock, light attack, Crushing Shock, all that, because we're still kind of in the proc meta. So that is going to be the first ability you're going to want to always, be using. And we all know Crystal Fragments. This is our big hitter that will proc basically all the freaking time. I don't remember when it's, not proc to do more damage. So this is, again, another staple. The first two abilities are really just staples for Sorcs if you're a new player and don't know. But all you experienced players already know what this does. But this is really cool. Casting a Magicka ability has a 35% chance of causing your next crystal fragments to be instant, dealing 66% more damage, and costs 50% less Magicka. So that's the proc that I was talking about. I'll show you on the screen then. It's going to be pretty powerful. It's also a pretty good, PvP move as well. Then we have Mage's Fury. I like using this just because it's a nice little, way to mix things up in the rotation. It's a really cool, pretty much, I don't want to call it an execute, but an execute. If an enemy falls to or below 20% within 4 seconds after being struck, an explosion deals an additional 8,000 damage, and that's basically an execute. Anytime I hit this and a person is under 20% and the explosion happens, they're pretty much dead as far as PvE goes, so always something there. But not to be forgotten by Haunting Curse. This is something I put on every single enemy. So curse an enemy with a destructive rune, dealing 8,000 damage to the target and 3,800 more damage to all other enemies after 3.5 seconds. Anyone nearby. The curse will continue to haunt the enemy and implode a second time, dealing 8,273 magic damage to the target and 3,800 magic damage to all other nearby enemies after an additional 8.5 seconds. Only one Haunting Curse can be active at a time. This is, I know I've said it for 2 abilities already, but these are all staple abilities that make the DPS super easy for this class, because what you're going to do is you're going to put Haunting Curse on them. You're going to immediately go into your light attack, Force Shock, Weave, and then once your Crystal Frags pops, you're going to pop that, and then you are going to just, when they're under 20%, hit the Mage's Fury, and they basically implode. And then this is just for mobility, Ball of Lightning. It's pretty fun to use. I only have it in there for some mobility because we aren't running Hurricane in this build, which sometimes Hurricane will give you, increased speed. So since we don't have that, we are running with Ball of Lightning. And then for our ultimate, we are running the Storm Etronach. There are better ultimates to use. I just like this because of the steady damage it does, especially if you're playing solo and need something with you. If you don't have pets, this isn't a pet build, so I tend to run a little extra friend here to help us out with the damage. Obviously pick up all your passives in DPS. Actually, I can actually pick up one more, but that's just for dark magic. So we're gonna go to the second bar, and this is our healing bar, and what I like to call the resource bar, right? So these are all of our restoration staff abilities. So I'll just move over here so you guys can see. And I don't even have all of these passive abilities because of how much I've been moving around skill points. And for doing most normal and veteran content, you can get away with not having all these passives and be fine. This isn't a build that I recommend for all veteran content. If you have a group of 4 and want to run this build, fine. But if you're just pugging a group, definitely put together a full healing, build and set before going in there. So let's go ahead and jump in. We have Illustrious Healing. That is our big AoE. Well, basically this is all AoE except for the third ability. And then we have Blessing of Restoration. That's when we slam our staff on the ground and there's a big healing cone in front of us. Then we have Rapid Regeneration. This will heal 1 ally. The other morph is that you can heal up to multiple, I think it's like 3, and then it just heals less. I went with just single target because I already have so much AoE in these two, not that big of a deal. And then we have Ally Ward. Not a lot of people like Ally Ward, but it's just an extra shield of protection, especially with how I run it. It's going to be a shield on me and then a shield on another player that's in my group. So you can't really go wrong with it. I'm sure people can find a million other ways to, use, shields in better ways, but I think Ward Ally is going to be good for this particular build. And then we have Dark Conversion. Now, this is for if you, for some reason, are running out of Magicka. Say you're just spamming your Weave and you're just spamming Crystal Frags and not paying attention. Well, luckily, we have Dark Conversion to take some of that stamina to give it back to Magicka. And then, for our ultimate, for healing, we have Life Giver. That is pretty self-explanatory. Wave your staff around. It heals all of you for a ton of health, and you'll be right back on track. So that is our healing bar. So we have our damage, and we have our healing bar. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. And then I will get into the champion points right about now. Alright, so we are going with 52 into the Steed. We have 27 in Ironclad. We have 25 in Resistant. We have 45 in Light Armor Focus, 28 Thick-Skinned, 23 Elemental Defender, and then we just have 20 in Bastion. Moving over to the tower, we have actually none in here. Absolutely none. I forgot I took all of these off for a second, and I was like, oh, that's super weird. Moving on to the Lover, we have 91 in the Arcanist, 40 in Mooncalf. Now, you might be wondering, why do we have so many points in stamina recovery? Well, it's basically for that dark deal, and if you are in a situation or if you're in a dungeon where you have to constantly be dodging, this does actually come in handy. So it might be a little high for some people, but for this it works. Moving over to the Shadow, we have 29 in Shadow Ward and 8 in Tumbling, just for a little bit of help on the roll dodge and the blocks. Now moving into the Apprentice, we have 25 in Blessed and 29 in Elfborn. And then in the Etronach, we have 31 Master at Arms and 9 Physical Weapon Expert. And then in the Ritual, we have 25 in Piercing, and then we have 49 in Mighty. So that is our whole champion point scope. I am really happy with this build, actually. It could have been better, honestly. But I think I got as much as I was going to get out of it. I didn't really... I don't put myself in situations where I really have to go crazy, like crazy meticulous with some builds. So like I'll just do what I like my typical like rotation-ish. So like we'll put Haunting Curse on someone, we'll go right into the light attack weave. Hopefully we get this to proc, but we don't. Oh, there we go, got it at the end. So boom, and I didn't take any damage there because we weren't fighting a boss, but that's pretty much the rotation. Let me see if I can just go in and pull a bunch of these Atronachs and see if I need to like pull some healing. Come on, there we go. And now this is where like I will put down my Atronachs. This will help if you're solo. So I'm not going to take any damage from this, I don't think. But if I was taking damage, we would just swap over, put this down, and then keep going. And see, the Chokethorn monster set worked perfectly. I'm not getting any damage. Boom. Mob completed. That's pretty nice. Pretty easy for a solo player if you don't like playing with people or just don't have a group to run with. I think this build will work fine for you. It is not a master build, like it's not the best of the best, but I think it's something that will work for new people who are just looking to get into some content. But guys, it's gonna do it here for me on the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more builds. And if you want to see anything else ESO related, hit that like button so this video gets pushed out to the YouTube algorithm. I would highly appreciate it. But guys, it's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Noble, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.